We thought we had worked out most of the bugs, but 2 out of 3 isn't a very good record either.
I think we should leave room for about 25 names of witches to put with Petronilla, which would represent all the women who were killed from the 14th to the 17th century. Did you get the figures on how many women were killed?
The highest figures in general works that are given, the low figure is 150,000. The highest figure...
I mean, I'm not willing to accept male historians' figures.
Well, this is the work.
If you read about the witch trials, they're treated as hysteria, some weird hysteria. There has never been an analysis of the witch trials like what's coming out now in terms of an analysis of history, which has to do with the suppression of female power. It is difficult to state with certainty exactly how many women were executed as witches. The Encyclopedia of Witchcraft and Demonology gives the often quoted conservative estimate of 200,000. Gage put the figure at 9 million. Well, let's see what that's the Gage book on witchcraft. Women, Church, and State, 1893.
Okay, Catherine Green invented the cotton gin. She's on there, under Green.
Do you have proof of that?
Yes.
She couldn't take out a patent in her own name because women couldn't take out patents.
Did you know
she
that?
got him to take it out.
And
then he gets all the credit.
She invented it. One of the things that came very clear to me as I was working on the piece all the time, it became more and more evident, was how biased history was and what that meant in terms of my choices. You know, I would not stand here and say that the piece is a history of the feminine in Western civilization, even though that's what I set out to do. What I would say is the piece is my effort to begin to construct the history of the feminine in Western civilization, and as such is a first stab at it.
We took the 999 names and just literally put them all on the floor at scale model size. It began to become clear that we could do more than that. Judy started thinking, along with the rest of the people that were doing the research, that it could better reflect history. So they came up with a design whereby the names would emanate from the women that would represent certain aspects of the culture. This, I believe this is Artemisia Gentileschi. This group here is emanating from Artemisia Gentileschi, who is a painter.
Judy went to the major tile companies on the West Coast to have the Heritage floor built. They all turned her down. They said it would be too expensive to gear up to that level of quality. Evelyn Appel, who taught Judy ceramic lace draping, took on the job of producing 2,300 porcelain tiles.
See, we turn the wheel every time we put a different, that's one complete coat.
Is it worth all the effort?
Well, I'll tell you, it's, for the project, yes, I think so, because I think it's something that you have a sense of accomplishment when you're finished. Like something that no one else wants to tackle. You have to be out of your head a little bit. I'm sure Judy can tell you that. She's mentioned it a couple of times. She doesn't know how she got into it either. She didn't think it was going to be this big.
I don't like getting up in the middle of the night 5 times a night to take the kill up either. But I'm doing it. And so you have to do it too. Margaret does it, you have to do it, and I have to do it, and that's all there is to it. Now you want to struggle with Leonard, you struggle with Leonard. I particularly don't want to. I'd rather try and make arrangements with each person. Like Margaret doesn't have the same thing to give you have. I mean, Margaret's the one who's doing all the shit work. I mean, talk about you. Margaret's sweeping the floor and firing the kills and staying up all night, and she's not bitching.
I still don't think we're resolving that thing of the kill and, you know, firing.
It has to do with your resentment that you have to do that and Leonard doesn't. That's the way it is. I have to do it and Leonard doesn't, too. And it's stopping you from being able to use your energy productively.
Well, I could use my energy productively if things are right.
Nothing will ever be right. Things are not right in this world, Keys. That is a fantasy.
Well, that's right, and that's what we're trying to change, aren't we?
It'll never all be right and perfect. There's a difference between it not being, you know, it all being perfect.
I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect. I mean, I'm not that naive to believe that it's going to be perfect.
Leonard Scurro, come back here. You're the source of this.
I'm the crux of it.
You're the crux of this.
It's not right, and it's not fair, and it's not equally divided, and it's not going to change. I mean, I'm not going to take that responsibility on. I have other obligations, emotional and internal, and I'm not telling you that, Judy. By me having them doesn't mean that you don't have them. Okay, I'm not trying to say because I have them and you don't. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that I have them. And from the beginning, Judy and I have struggled that, and I've just been in a position internally that wouldn't allow me to give over to that. And I'm sorry that you're unhappy with it, but it's not going to change. Wedging clay and making plates, to me, is as mechanical as I could possibly ever get. Judy said to me a million times, yeah, I know, Leonard, you hate making plates. Make me 6. I mean, that, you know, it's just the way it is. It's not fair and right.
How do you feel about working in a space that's predominantly women? And have you had to go through any changes?
It has forced me to confront things in myself that, had I not been involved in this kind of atmosphere and environment, I would have not had to confront.
I consider the dinner party project a client of mine, in the sense that I'm trying to create or be a part of a team that creates a piece.
I'm not separate from, I feel like I'm part of. And I think that
Part of what?
the project and part of
I think
this-
you are too.
Well, I think that it's important for you to feel that way too. Maybe I'm wrong.
I do feel part of the project. I feel that I'm helping crew on a video project that will tell a tremendous story. I feel that I'm intimately involved.
But if you feel intimately involved, then then I think you have a responsibility to each of us to share that. I mean, I can't.
I think it's part of our conditioning not to feel. I think, you know, in a certain sense, we look back on Sparta and the Spartans and how weird they were, but ours is actually a Spartan culture in a very large degree, or was at least. When I grew up, you know, during World War II, Jesus, everybody was going to be a warrior. Everybody was going to go out and win the war, and you know, and we were trained to be mass murderers, actually. Go in the Navy and learn how to blow up battleships or shell ports or bomb cities, you know.
Do you want to be unlocked from that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, but it is something that's really hard to do, because you don't in a big degree. You don't want to start feeling, because it's so painful, you know. When you really start touching those nerves and letting those feelings flow, it's devastating.
Having spent 12 years in the corporate world, a big influence on my development has been to really get my emotions out in private and go to a meeting and be real calm, cool, and collected. And I find here extreme emotionalism, which I think is very non-supportive and real frustrating. I feel like it really inhibits communication.
I don't think any of us in the project, any of us, stop being professional. I think that's why we come here. And come long distances
to do a professional project because the world needs to hear this in a professional way. I mean, in terms of expertise and intelligence and with creative sensitivity.
Absolutely.
But we also are, the excitement which we want to share with, I want to share with you, and which I want to get better at learning how to share, is the possibilities that this project goes out into the world as a finished piece that is professional. But the processes that went into making this piece are holistic, that they deal with feelings. At times they get emotional. We are also in it, we are not only documenting feminist history, we are in the process building a feminist approach to the world, which is going to be different than what you perceive as right now as being professional. And you're invited, you know, I want you in on that process.
We are in the process.
Well, all right.
And you don't want to do that now.
I feel rejected.
Wait a second, I gotta say something. I feel like...
Why don't you guys open up space for other people now to talk?
okay.
You have your turn. Now
Sure.
just give other people a turn,
Absolutely.
okay? Other people really have things they
Absolutely.
want
Whoever
to
like to
say.
talk.
I mean, the reason we want feelings is because feelings don't lie. You know, feelings don't lie. They may not be the whole truth. They may be a distortion of the truth. They may be out of proportion, but feelings don't lie. And if you're going to have real interchange, and you want real interchange, then at some point you have to make the risk to not do good, to say the wrong thing, because the wrong thing is really the right thing. Because the wrong thing...
Instantly. It sounds like you've had plenty of time to work it
Wait a
out, but
second.
you want us to do it right
Wait a
now,
second.
right here.
Wait a second. Now, wait a minute.
You understand, and then that there's a reluctance. It might perhaps be because of the fact that it's new to us and that we feel strange in this position. Maybe that's the reason that it's hard for us to reveal ourselves. But you want us to come in for 2.5 or 3 hours cold and spit it out.
It means a great deal to me to be able to hear what the men have to say. I am emotionally invested in men changing. It's a place I haven't done very good in relationships, in asking men to change. I was feeling so much warmth for the men who were here, who would come in, just come in and say it. And I was the back of my head kept screaming, but how's it going to be when you go back out into the world? Are you going to be able to take the pressure if you change? Will you cop out, or will you stay in here with us and change and go back out there with us? You know, it's just, it's real scary.
Divine.
Divine.
How could we have done without it?
I mean, all this
Eating and drinking.
Uh-huh.
It was the highlight of the day. The turkey turned out just right.
It's interesting, the thing about eating and drinking, because that's a place where, as women, there's all these problems. There's so much more permission for men to get, husky and pointed. And they eat and drink really hearty. And you sort of understand it once you get into working like this.
Sure.
Well, there it is. George is the proof. We've solved the problems of the three-dimensional plates.
It's so alive. The energy that's come out of that O'Keeffe plate is incredible, particularly when you've been working on it. I mean, the presence of O'Keeffe has somehow been around. I've been thinking of it all the time. It's like she's been contributing.